You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to noon every Sunday, and I am your host, Angela Smarito. And before we jump into the show, I want to give a shout out to some of our show sponsors. First off, thank you to Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. Get Me Automated. Ashley and her team educate business owners to grow their business through custom automation. That's getmeautomated.com. And last but not least for this segment, Osteopathic Health of Orlando. They offer integrative medicine and regenerative medicine and so much more. Visit osteopathic.healthcare and you're good to go. So we have a new guest today. Please welcome Xavier Fernandez with Myofusion Mind and Body Therapies. All right, you're going to have to talk louder than that, my friend. Yeah, so we met through BNI. How long ago did we meet? Because I remember, we got reunited when I came to your chapter and I subbed for Anna.
Yeah, I think it was around maybe 2 years, 3 years, something
right.
like that.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So I was very excited that you came back and talked to me. That's perfect. Yeah, I want to be able to hear you. And so how long have you actually been a BNI in a chapter?
I think it's about 7 years now.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
7 years, something like that.
And it's been good to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of the biggest things I've done as a small business owner.
Right.
For sure, yeah.
See, I try to tell people this all the time, and I'm like, I promise it's not a cult. I promise. I had one of our sponsors go to one of the chapters and they were inducting somebody, so they were doing the I pledge thing, and he he was a little freaked out about it because he was like, what's going on? Everybody's raising their hand and saying I pledge to do this and that and the other, and it spooked him away.
Yeah, I always look around at any visitors or new people at that time, and they're like, what's going on here? Do I stand up too? Do I not? Do I do I pledge my allegiance to
Right, exactly. So Xavier, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, first and foremost, let's just explain briefly what Myofusion is so people can understand, and then we're going to jump into your background a little bit.
Yeah, so basically I came up with Myofusion because for one, I'm a massage therapist.
Okay.
So I deal with muscles. Myo means muscles. So I basically, in my practice and what I've done over 17 years is take different portions of different kinds of muscle manual therapy that I've kind of combined together that I find seems to work best together in the way that I work, right? So by fusing these, I came up with Myofusion.
Muscle fusion. That's really, really cool. So 17 years, you don't look like you're old enough to even be working for 17 years.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I don't know.
I'm jealous.
Good genetics, I guess.
Right. Thank mom and dad for that. So, all right. So where are you from? What's your background?
So I'm originally from New York. I was born in Queens, and then we moved out to Long Island. We've been down here in Florida for actually about 17 years. So
it's because it's cold up there, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's one of the big reasons. We go back to visit, but usually it's around fall time before it starts getting cold, and that's about it.
That's my thing. I was born and raised in Florida, and I'm starting to get to a point now where the heat is a little bit too much for me. So we talk about moving Midwest, not Midwest, but north, but not that far north, because I don't understand snow and snow days and all the things. And so when you got back here, is physical therapy something that you really kind of massage therapy something that how did you end up leaning in that as a career path?
So I actually started in New York. And it's the long part of the story is basically I've been working on family. I have a huge family. We have get-togethers between birthdays and other celebrations pretty much every weekend, at least for when I was small. And for some reason, it always became a thing where it's like, oh, Xavier's here, massage my neck, rub my scalp, and we're talking maybe 8 years old,
Right?
maybe younger. And then so once I started getting to like working age, my family were like, oh, you should look into becoming a massage therapist. You should really like look. And I'm like, you always want to do your own thing when you're younger.
Right.
I knew I wanted to work with my hands, but I didn't know exactly what. So I did construction work. I actually went to school for automotive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I did a couple of things, and then it always came back to somebody telling me that I should get into massage therapy. I think one of the last times for a get-together we had, one of my cousins had like a crick in her neck where she couldn't turn, she couldn't move, her ear was like pinned to her shoulder almost. And again, this is before any like training or any like knowledge really of what to do. I was able to get her to be able to move her head.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you enjoy doing that, or was that just sort of like, oh gosh, okay, Aunt Betty's in front of me again, I got to fix her up here?
No, it was always like nice. I guess I'm always, like I said, big family, touchy-feely. We're all like big huggers and, things like that. So, it's just nice to be able to, work on people, I guess.
Right. So you enjoyed it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't like, oh, not again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Now, if it was a get-together and somebody was like, oh, massage my feet, that'd probably be...
I'd be like, yeah, no, not happening. Not
today,
today, not
ever.
Different. Well, the older I get, the more I appreciate, like, what that means to work out a muscle and stuff like that. Because I'll wake up and I'm like, why does my hip hurt so bad?
Yeah.
My husband and I talk about it all the time. I'm like, why? I don't want this to happen. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, the why is always like so like what people want and like how, why is it just because I'm old? Is it just because I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing? And it becomes very complicated, like trying to figure it out. There are like a couple things, like definitely like the way you sleep, the kind of bed and mattress, constant habits and the way our body adapts. If we're doing anything that's out of the ordinary that our body's just not used to, things like that are just like more common. And then people can kind of circle around and figure out, what they did to themselves, so.
Right. So do you have a brick and mortar somewhere that people can come? How does your business work?
Yeah. So I do some house calls. Mostly now I do in my office in Longwood.
Okay.
And my small office is in a gym. They give me the full run of the gym to kind of be able to teach people like specific mobility drills and exercises and stretches and things like that also.
So do you work as a physical therapist or a massage therapist?
So I am a massage therapist,
Okay.
but I'm also a yoga instructor and a mobility coach. So
Okay, so you know all that stuff. I can see where that all really works well together.
Yeah. So I actually started going to yoga, practicing myself yoga in the middle of me taking my massage therapy schooling.
Mm-hmm.
And then mobility kind of came shortly after, like how to make it more accessible for people and things to do, like things that just kind of made sense to me.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't stretch and you're not very flexible, and if you are going to get into an accident or something like that, would you be less or more likely to get hurt if you are if you were just like no flexibility whatsoever?
I mean, it kind of depends, which is like, feels like a cop-out answer, but you have like people that they don't, especially like you can have like somebody in their 80s who doesn't move at all, and you see them like really just kind of like tied up, their shoulders are rounded, they're kind of crunched over, but they're not in pain at all. Like I've spoken to people like that and people who have gotten into accidents like that. And they just don't have the same, they don't have the same movement, but maybe they just got a fender bender. I'm sure if they flip their car over, it'd be hard on them. Maybe recovery from that would be more difficult because now they need to like access ranges of motion they haven't to be able to build muscle, to be able to get joints functioning a little bit better. But sometimes people are too flexible, and then you can have like a dislocation or in the chiropractic world like a subluxation of the spine more easily, like things I think more so than like
Sorry,
the
you know
flexibility.
what? I'm going to make you hold that thought because I want to talk about this. I have some more questions.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Body Street of Winter Park and Winter Garden. Experience EMS Fitness Studio, where it only takes 20 minutes a week to get a full body workout. Visit Body Street US for your free trial.
We want to pump you up.
They're German. that was them on the show. You should have seen how much fun we have. Have you ever heard of Body Street?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay, so actually, you know what? They're going to come visit your chapter at the beginning of August. Mm-hmm. So what it is, it's an EMS studio, electromuscle stimulation. You go once a week. Mm-hmm. They put you like it's almost like a neoprene wetsuit, and then they like kind of put you. It's almost like a TENS unit.
Oh, okay.
Where you go through a series of motions, and they tense up on your muscles, and so you know, I've been doing it probably since last November, so it's been a while.
Okay.
But like I'm like building like muscle.
Look at that.
You know what I mean? So it's actually working.
Yeah.
Because I you know, this isn't about me, so we'll talk about you.
You almost broke the camera frame with when you flexed there. So,
I know, I got my pipes. But anyway, I lost a lot of weight, so I had a lot of loose skin, and they really helped me tone up. With Emily
awesome.
Murphy got me like, she got my hormones all balanced, and so like I feel like a human being again,
important.
and she's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here with Xavier, and his business is called Myofusion and Body Therapies, and like I said, we met through BNI. And so you were talking before the break about being almost over flexible, and you can like pull things out of joint and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
That's something that happens.
Yeah. You can be like hypermobile, hyper flexible, and so what happens is you're more susceptible to being like subluxed or dislocated or things like that. I wouldn't say like in your regular everyday life, but it does make things more problematic, and it could be something that it shows up in other places too, like organs aren't functioning a little or as well as they could be because you're hyper flexible. Usually there's like a connective tissue kind of disorders and things like that. I
understand.
Yeah.
My husband and I were talking the other day too about that hunch.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes as people age, they start to get
dowager's hump. Yeah.
That lump, and it's like it just. I don't want one. So, and I'm wondering what causes it, because some people get it, some people don't. My mom and dad are in their 80s or their late 70s. They don't have that.
Yeah. There's a combination of things for that too. Sometimes it's like postural, just like what we're used to, and especially like with now, of course, everybody kind of talks about like being on your phone and being on the computer.
Is that a real thing, looking down?
Yeah, I mean, your body adapts. Your body is like one of the most intelligent things, right? But it's not looking to make you look better, to make you like even function. Like it's looking to actually just make sure you're efficient in your movement, right? So if you're always looking down into your computer and your head's jet forward, and you're kind of always in that position, then your body will adapt to keep you in that position. And, it takes time, of course, and then doing things that break you out of that habit can take some time too. But sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes there's like fatty deposits. You can have, again, going to like how your spine is functioning, your muscles are pulling, things like that. You can actually be kind of pushed into this forward position.
But is your spine curving like that? Or is that muscle, or not muscle, but is it something other than your spine? Or is your spine still going up and then it's muscle that's turning, making that curve?
You have three natural curves in your spine. Like your neck curves backwards, like a backward C, and then your upper back curves the other way, and then again into your lower back. Or that's the way it's supposed to be. So you hear like when people say like military neck or straight neck, or now like text neck or tech neck, those kind of things. Those are like decreases of the actual curvature in your spine. And then that's how your body's adapting to you in these positions. Mm-hmm. So the same thing with your mid back. So it's a combination of if you're losing the curvature in your neck, but you're also gaining more curvature in your upper back, then you kind of get that curve into your spine on top of that, if you have like a higher fat percentage.
Yeah, if your belly is out to here and it's putting more pressure on your back and pulling it forward.
Exactly. So in two ways, right? So there's that way where your belly's forward, so you have to kind of readjust your weight distribution. So and then your spine has to readjust that. But also there's a pocket of fat that develops on the back where that hump is. So and then it makes it look more pronounced on top of you actually curving too. So
wow. So what is the main reason people call you? I already know the answer, but you can. I want you to say it.
Yeah, people call me usually pretty much last minute, but when it's it's after they have hurt themselves doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, or for the I'll say doing something that they are supposed to be doing, but something is off in the way they're training or something like that. Because I deal with a lot of athletes, but I also deal with people kind of in those positions, like being on the computer too.
So your biggest motivator, I think, is pain. It's pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
People call you when they're in pain, and they wait. They try to adjust. They try to get around it. They try to do everything possible to not make that call.
Well, yeah, that, and then people think it's just going to go away. I think for the most part, like oh, I got a crick in my neck and I can't turn my neck, but it'll be, I just need to, go to sleep and then I'll be fine tomorrow, or a couple weeks or a couple days, and then then they're suffering and now their head is stuck in a position and they're compensating and they're afraid to move, and so they stop moving.
That's a tough life.
Yeah, but we're all kind of taught to do it. Like you're a tough person if you can.
Muscle through.
Not give it to your pain.
Be a man. Nah, forget that. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be a man.
You don't want to be a man.
Something hurts. I am very guilty of putting things off and hoping that they go away. And most of the time, like it does. But
it is kind of like a out of sight, out of mind thing also. So like if you I hurt when I turn my head to the left.
Well, don't turn your head to the left.
And then you stop turning your head to your left. Like, oh, I feel perfectly fine if I don't look over there. If I'm not driving and have to look over there.
Did your parents used to say that to you?
Yeah,
when you're like, you know what, this bothers me when I do this.
Oh, yeah.
Then just don't do that.
That's like a big joke in my family, my aunts and everything. Like, oh, it hurts when I do this. I'm like, so just don't do that.
Do it.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Stop it. Don't touch that.
Oh, well, tell us about your business. Like, how did you get started? And like, when did you branch off on your own?
So I was with a lot of chiropractors, working alongside chiropractors in more like a clinical setting. Started working kind of in tandem with some physical therapists. And then I played a lot of sports. I've done a lot of things myself as far as being active. So at the same time I was doing mixed martial arts, and so I had developed
and yoga too.
I was actually teaching yoga at a mixed martial arts studio for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it all in there.
Yeah, they need it for sure. But so I was doing that, and then I developed some clientele base from people hurting themselves doing mixed martial arts, which is probably hard to believe, right? People getting their necks cranked and everything.
I just think about how hard it must hurt to like kick that bag and stuff. But
well, that too, yeah.
But okay, so that's really smart. You've strategically been in places where you can be there to help, but then you also gain that clientele. You're not just like opening up a storefront and being like, "Here I am, come find me."
I don't know if it was like a strategic thing. It was just things I like doing. So I used to run. I ran track. I did wrestling. And, I do rock climbing, but when I came down to Florida, that was one of the first things I did was join a mixed martial arts gym. It was a lot of stress. So, it's hard to like stress about anything else when you're about to get punched in the face. Really.
Oh my gosh, it sounds scary.
You kind of got to focus a little bit. So I developed that clientele base just because I was there. And then I got into yoga and teaching yoga there. And so people started to know me for that. So I started getting really busy between like my personal clients and then clients at the clinic. And then I think I was working at 2 different offices at once for a little bit. So I was kind of jumping all over the place. And then I'd have house calls based on like a previous job at a spa that I also had. And so I was going from like Windermere to Daytona to Ormond Beach to, to Winter Park. And so I was all over the place. I'm like, all right, something's got to give.
Right.
And then I was back in Longwood and working on people there.
I'm going to have to interrupt you again. We're going to break. It goes so fast. So everybody stay tuned. We have more BaaD Radio coming up.
Together.
Oh, welcome back. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler system did last night?
Well, I don't have a sprinkler system.
Probably not then. So now's a good time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about our water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. Call 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. And so we've been getting a lot of rain lately. And so I think that water sensor is a good thing too, if you have a lawn and irrigation system. So, all right, we're here with Xavier Fernandez with Myofusion Mind and Body Therapies. And again, I met him through BNI, and I'm really enjoying this because like you and I really haven't sat down and talked. So what I like about this show is like how organic it really is like I'm asking these questions and I'm learning along with the audience as they follow along, and it's really nice to get to know you and the business owners as people, because I mean that's a BNI thing. You want to do business with people you like, know, and trust, and so
build relationships.
When people get to hear you on here, they get to see that you're a nice person. That they can pick up on that right away. So when we left off, you were talking about how you kind of had yourself spread a little bit too thin. You were doing. Martial arts, you were doing yoga, were you also doing massage therapy?
So I was doing the massage therapy. I was the head massage therapist at one facility and at another facility also, and then I was seeing my own clients. So I was spread a little bit thin and long days. Not so basically I was like, all right, so one of these has to go. So I left one of the clinics I was at, and then eventually grew enough on my own to leave the other one, and so then I basically branched off completely and just started on my own.
Got your own LLC, said I'm going to be my own business. And how long ago specifically was that?
I want to say that was 2017.
Okay.
Something like maybe 2018.
Did COVID knock everything out of whack?
It was difficult. I mean, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah,
my business is hands-on.
Exactly. Yeah, it's touching and all the things.
Yeah. But what was interesting was like a lot of people, because I deal with pain and people like in pain, they kind of saw me as, all right, as soon as we can get back to seeing somebody, we got to go see Xavier. So I kind of picked up as soon as the gyms opened up, as soon as I was able to work on people again, I was able to just, focus on that. And
I mean, Florida was a mixed bag. There was a lot of people that were like, this is just go do your own, you know what I mean? They weren't scared of COVID. And then you have the other group that was like, stay at home, put your mask on, do all the things. So, So I guess we're fortunate in that way that if you have a business like yours, being in the state of Florida really helped save our skin, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I bet that's honestly where business at a distance came from, because like when COVID hit, there was no groups getting together, and this was before Zoom had come out and all the other things. And so I created a Facebook group I called it Business at a Distance, and that's where BaaD came from. And so 5 years later, all of a sudden, it's our marketing firm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy how things work out, right? All right, so you started out on your own, and then did you start? So you said that you have a location that's inside of a gym right now.
Yes, absolutely.
What gym is that? And is it? I know you said Longwood.
Yep. So it's I4 Fit Gym.
Okay.
It's in Longwood, right off of 434. So
it's a private gym. I'm taking.
Yeah. So it's a private gym, or I guess semi-private. There's a lot of great trainers there, and that's kind of what has helped me too to kind of understand some of the dynamics of like how training. I got into powerlifting because they have some awesome powerlifting coaches there, different strength and conditioning, just kind of wellness trainers. My trainer is Exxon, and he's kind of been putting me through like powerlifting. I competed in a powerlifting competition.
Oh, congratulations! I was just getting there. That's a huge thing.
And then more strongman as of recently, so not competing, but just like practicing and So I appreciate all of the like different physical kind of education that they have more, especially as I'm growing too, and having to deal with these patients also and kind of understanding, okay, this is what is typical of a power lifter, of an Olympic lifter, of a baseball
True.
player.
Yeah,
so.
everybody's going to have different pieces and muscles that are going to hurt versus others. And so you work on a lot of athletes.
Yep.
What are some of the other target demos that you really kind of hyper focus on?
Yeah, I want to say like weekend warriors is probably one of the biggest things.
Tell us what that is.
So like there's a couple different aspects of it. The people that tend to like, they're working like a 9 to 5 throughout the week, and then they want to run 20 miles on the weekend, or they take up a CrossFit class and they're just going after it, or they're just doing like yard work, and they gotta put in a whole patio within a weekend, and so they're beating themselves up every weekend, and then they're not able to move as much as they probably should during the week. So.
And so then next thing you know, they're stiff and sore.
Yeah. All of that, especially if you're thinking of like a training perspective, like when you're going to like powerlifting, right? So they have a build up if they're competing, right? So they build up to their max. It's not like max every day, and that's kind of like a misconception. But in the same kind of way, they have like a ramp to be able to gain the strength that they need for their max. In a day-to-day life, somebody will just, again, work 9 to 5 and then go and chuck, 20 bags of concrete or, sand or mulch or whatever. And then, of course, they're sore and they're beat up and, they're suffering for the whole week, and then they got to do it again the next weekend. Yeah. So
now I'm curious, do you get referrals from MDs?
I've gotten a few. I tend to get from some PTs, some chiros.
What's your biggest source of referrals?
In the medical field, probably from other massage therapists and PTs.
Yeah,
I want to say, yeah.
Well, because I have like this vendetta, not really, but it's not a vendetta, but I like with just MDs, and it's like if something hurts, they come in, you give them a pill.
Yeah, it's the fast. The fast way to treat somebody. And some people, and I think that's probably why it's like that, is because people sometimes just want the quick fix. Again, if they're in pain on the weekend and they got to go back to work to do their job on Monday through Friday, then they're like, all right, I need to be, quote unquote, better by Monday, right? So they're like, all right, I don't have the time to put in this much work. I got to stretch, I got to do mobility, I got to do some like activation and stability work, and I got to, have somebody work on me to loosen up some muscles or anything like that. So
I actually had a guest on that gave a staggering statistic saying that people that go to like a primary care or a doctor, it might be a little bit different now, but for like the pain management, are 97% more likely to develop an opioid dependency. Yeah. And I find that so disturbing on so many different levels, because that has to stop.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know probably, I don't know the statistics, but I would imagine here in Florida, there's probably some, big portion of it that's similar. I know I speak to some MDs and just people in the medical establishment, I guess, and they'll say, oh, let's just do this, So, and then in my brain of like analyzing what's going on, I'm like, all right, we can go this route. Why not like give them more options or like support them in a certain way?
Or let's get them all hyped up on Oxycontin, and then the next thing you know, they're in rehab.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad, and a lot of times it happens so fast that people don't even realize.
Exactly.
Until they're in a facility already or something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I love the fact that there's people like you that are out there that are alternatives, but people have to be willing to work. And that's what is so hard, is they have to put in the time, and so many people don't want to do that.
Yeah, for sure. It takes a lot of consistency. It takes a lot of work. It's not I mean, you saw me coming in here.
You're on crutches. He's on crutches, everybody.
So I recently took a misstep down the stairs.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get back. So everybody stay tuned for more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones, and you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar, and with 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Popka, and Altamont Springs. Visit Froggers.com for more info. Frogger's Grill and Bar, hop in with food and fun. Yeah, boy! That is exactly right. So we've had, this whole hour has absolutely flown by, and we are here with Xavier Fernandez, and his name of his business is Myofusion Mind and Body Therapies. So just real quick, how did you come up with that name? We talked about the Myofusion, muscle being myo and then the fusion of it, but body therapy. So and you mentioned also briefly about kind of creating like a system.
Yeah, so I basically kind of like put things together, and it's taken me, probably this long to...
Do me a favor, pull that, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
All right. And it probably has taken me, and I'm always trying to keep learning, but there's so many aspects to how people deal with pain, what's going on in someone's body. So I wanted to make sure that I'm not just working on the muscles of somebody. It's not like working on a car. There's emotions, there's energy, and there's all these different aspects of how people deal with pain that can influence how your body's just adjusting to it. So, and then of course I do yoga, breath work, and so I've kind of studied into these things. So I wanted to incorporate some of this as I build a business together, and so. Dealing with some people that have pain, sometimes it's me more so. Of course, there's hands-on, but there's me just being there for somebody, and sometimes it's allowing somebody the ability to actually let go of something. Mm-hmm. So,
and who would you like to have call you? Are you looking for like one and done, or are you looking for somebody that's going to come in and like buy a package?
So I do have packages, but I want to say for the most part, I deal with people who are, they want to be out of like a chronic pain. My whole goal is to get somebody out of as much pain or out of pain completely in one session. So I don't want to like have somebody like feel like they're like I'm stringing them along. I don't want to string somebody along. I want to actually, you mentioned, if I enjoy, I love what I do because I get to impact so many people.
Right.
I want them to feel better. I want them to get off the table, and depending
like, wow,
on,
awesome.
They're like, oh my God, like my headache is gone, or I can move my neck, I can move my arm, all that stuff. So.
My son had a horrible tension headache, and,
really?
And we have Maureen Shaw with Absolute Health and Wellness in our chapter, and she's a massage therapist, and he was like, Mom, that was magic. Because he was suffering for a while before we could it took me a minute to figure out what it was. Mm-hmm. So
it's so impactful, and there's different kinds of headaches too. So just trying to figure out who's the best person to see is important,
well, normally, like I said, when he would get like a migraine, it'd be up here, but for him it was here and here. So I knew it was different.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that you guys can like massage somebody and fix their head, fix their headache.
Yeah, it's funny, when somebody's like, oh my God, they have magic, or something like that. So like they're magic hands or whatever. But it's that's the fulfilling part for me when somebody can get up and do that. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And then they could go back to doing what they love.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And trying something new, being able to move, being able to. Not be cranky around people, because you find people in pain and they get cranky, who's not going to be cranky if they're in pain, 90% of the time. So. And
I think a lot of people just manage pain. I think a lot of people are in pain a lot.
Yeah.
And they just, like I said, deal with it.
Tough it through, yeah.
What's the best, I'm going to ask you this a lot in the next 5 minutes. So what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
So I have my phone number on my website,
what's your website?
Myofusionmindbody.com.
Okay.
And people reach out to me through my Instagram. It's Xavier_Myofusion. And that's pretty much how people get a hold of me there too. They can even schedule themselves online.
On your website?
Yep, on the website, and see what's available and get on wait lists if they need a specific time, all that stuff. So
gotcha. Yep. So say that again, though. I meant the email address.
Yep. myofusionmindbody.com.
Mindbody.com.
Yep.
And what I'll do also is like when I post for the show and things like that. So I'll include that stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so the website, it gives a description of everything you do. Yeah. Tell us what everything that's included on your website.
Yeah. So I do manual therapy, but it's probably just the amount of time that someone spends with me. So I do cupping, fascial scraping, Graston, assisted stretching, kinesio tape.
Is cupping again?
Cupping therapy is where you put like suction cups or sometimes fire cups. I do without fire. It makes it a little bit easier to not have to deal with fire.
Yeah.
but yeah, so it usually it became really popular when you saw it on like the Olympics, people with the big circles on their shoulders.
It doesn't
or,
look comfortable, but
yeah, it's sometimes people like it more than like other parts of the therapy, and some people hate it. So it really depends.
Is that what?
So yeah, it draws the fluid, the blood to that section of your skin. I do moving cupping, or dynamic cupping. So I actually move the cups around. I move the body part or the limb around. So if you're trying to get more specific stretch, it kind of helps to like promote healing just by increasing the blood flow to the area.
Okay. So see, that's funny. It's like I never really understood the theory. So you're doing it to bring blood to help promote healing.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things that it does. It's not just like a one, like this is the only thing that it does. One of the things is it promotes healing by increasing the blood flow, and that's why you see it red. You can actually put 2 cups.
So it's like a big hickey.
Yeah. So maybe like somebody in high school is doing good by somebody. Probably not, but
not recommended.
Yeah,
kids,
not recommended. That's not it's not part of therapy.
No.
But yeah, so it draws blood to the area. It with moving cupping, you can break down some scar tissue. You can kind of do more specific dynamic stretches to an area to kind of gain that range of motion again. So there's a few things for sure.
So list all the different things again. I derailed you on the cupping thing.
Yeah. So manual therapy, the hands-on massage.
And do you do like 30, 60, 90?
So, yeah. So I do 30 minutes, or in the office, I do 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours.
You do 2-hour massage?
Yeah. I have some people that travel quite a bit to see me.
Then your hands get tired?
I've been lucky enough to kind of, again, ramp up the strength of my hands. I train my hands. Like I said, I do rock climbing every once in a while. Different like grip strength kind of things. So I've been able to keep my hands pretty healthy and keep the strength and not feel anything. Like I can go, I'll see anywhere from 4 to 7 patients a day. So
wow.
Yeah. So and then different times, of course. So some of them are hours, some of them are hour and a half. Probably the more like frequent, very little people. They're like, I need more than just a half an hour. Or I need more than, a little bit.
Depending on how much pain they're in, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if they have like different compensation factors, for sure, just things that are happening. Usually, it's not one area, and for the most part, it's not the area of pain that where the issue is. It's
and that's
else.
Crazy to me. It's like you can have it hurts over here, but you're going to massage down over here. That's going to make it feel better. I'm being dramatic, but you know what I mean?
There's a joke with it's like, oh yeah, it's got to be my left earlobe. Like things are all tied together. Things are connected. So.
We have Hiroko in our group, and she's an acupuncturist.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She's been on before, and she's like, no, if it hurts here, we put the needles in here. I'm like, what are you talking about? That is the craziest thing. So, well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show today. Go ahead and get all of your contact information out again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. You can find me at Xavier_Myofusion on Instagram. I have my website is myofusionmindandbody.com. And you can pretty much just reach me from those two areas. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And if you'd like some information about featuring your business on BaaD Radio, please email me at angela@baadmarketing.com. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and a huge thank you to you for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone. And to remember to support local.
Thank you.